Hello and welcome to episode 10, double digits of Always a Patriot, the John Jay Soccer podcast. As always, I am Brendan Horton, joined by Coach Robert Seipp. Coach, how's it going today?
Doing well, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing well and very excited for our episode today. We've had a lot transpire over the last week, and we've had a lot of conversations, and to develop them further today is very exciting.
Yeah, we played some good soccer, some bad soccer. So yeah, that's the process, though, right? Especially in
Yeah.
the summertime. So it's never fun to take those steps backwards, but always good to be able to take the steps forward. And I'm definitely looking forward to next week now, where we finally get on the practice field because it's frustrating for us coaches just to sort of coach at halftime and before the game, where you're just sort of talking to the kids. But starting this week, Monday through Thursday, we're on the field for an hour and a half every single day. So we'll really be able to dig into, a lot of the little things that we've been talking to the kids about at halftime and before games and after games, and really, hope to deeper their understanding of what we're looking for the fall season. So I'm excited. I really am.
Yeah, I've been trying to think throughout the last couple of days of this stretch where we had a lot of these games as kind of a data collection process where now we can analyze it, you and I, and then start looking at things that we want to change and modify in these 12 practices that we have coming up in the next couple of weeks prior to August 25th's first day of tryouts.
Yeah, yeah. So let's go through the week. Let's see that first game we had on Monday. We were in the quarterfinals at the Ossining League, and we played Hastings. 60 minutes, we scored 0 goals. Right, we couldn't score, so we had to go to PKs with them. Braden Cole did a nice job, right, in the PKs, and
Yeah,
he
two
he
saves.
saved two of them. Yeah, so we advanced 4-2 on the PKs, but really struggled in that game, right? We were really disappointed with our lack of pressure on the ball, with our inability to keep possession of the ball. They had a lot more possession just because defensively we weren't pressuring the ball. And then offensively, when we had it, it seemed like we would just be trying to play through balls. This is sort of condensing the 60 minutes of soccer into a 60-second spiel, but I was just so disappointed with our lack of pressure on the ball defensively, and then our inability to just keep possession of the ball and string passes together and try to get the ball into space on the offensive end. But Braden basically bailed us out on those PKs, and we advanced
Yeah,
to the semis.
it was a 1 versus 8 seed matchup, and it was just bad soccer. We played really poorly. Like you said, defensively, we just had no ball pressure. There's so many instances where the Hastings players were able to receive the ball, pick their head up, and take 1,000, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and just nobody even making an attempt to do what the first defender has to do. And that was a big struggle, and it's always something that drives us nuts, and we focus on so much. But it was a definite step backwards in terms of tactically offensively, because we, just like you said, we're so north south, just looking for a quick out to play guys through. Even guys were at like midfield, there were guys trying to play through from our own defensive half. And to me, when high school players do that, it's two reasons. It's number one, because at the JV level they score a lot of goals that way, right? And at youth club soccer can score a lot of goals that way if you get a fast player. We've talked about that in the past, just a numbers game of you do it enough times, one breaks through and you score. And I think it's frustration and pressing. And as that game went on, and you and I were becoming visibly frustrated, and I think probably the tone and the words that were coming out from the sidelines from us were indicative that we were frustrated with the product on the field. They start to press, and I think that's what they default to, because it's a comfort. It's if we can just make this work, they'll be happy. And with you and I, that's just not the case.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely frustrating, and also from just like a goalkeeper standpoint too. Whenever we don't have pressure on the ball, I'm always looking for our keepers or our players back and behind the ball to start screaming. We never want guys screaming and yelling at each other, but that's a time I think to verbally say, "Hey, we need pressure on the ball. Somebody step to pressure the ball," and it's always the closest guy that because he's going to be able to get there the quickest. But yeah, if at our level, if you don't put pressure on the ball, I mean, it's kind of like a quarterback in football, right? I mean, if he's got a really good offensive line and able to sit in the pocket 4, 5, 6 seconds, I mean, watch out. I mean, you are just going to get shredded. I don't care how good those cornerbacks are and that the secondary is. A quarterback is going to pick them apart. So same thing at our level. We've got to get pressure on the ball and got to get those opposing players' heads down to deal with that pressure, as opposed to scanning the field and determining where they ought to play the ball. It was definitely a frustrating game for us, and we talked about it at halftime. But like you said, it was a 1-8 game, and I think Hastings, which is Hastings is a good team too. They coming out of halftime, I mean, they were pumped. I mean, they're 0-0 in this 1-8 game, and they feel like they're in the game, and they definitely had the better of the play in the first half. We did not have the better of the
Right.
play. So not only did we not score, that they dominated that first half. So you really put yourself behind the eight ball. You have 30 minutes to go to come out. And then, yet the natural tendency is, as any player, any human being, is to start to panic. And then you're just looking for that quick goal. Can we just play a through ball? But their defenses are very organized. Hastings was very organized. Their keeper was off his line. So anytime we tried to play something through, we were either offsides or their keeper got it, and it came right back at us. So
Right. And it's not like in that first 30 minutes, they withstood some barrage by us or anything like that. They're building confidence because, like you said, it's a back and forth game. It's an even game. We probably even were outplayed in that first 30 minutes for sure. And in watching the film back, we definitely were outplayed. So if you're Hastings, you're feeling good, and they were playing good. They were playing
yeah,
well,
yeah,
and we were not playing well. So you could just see how important momentum and confidence and things like that are as that game progressed into the second half, where they continued to show more and more get up and go as time ticked down, and we just got more nervous and nervous, more panicked and more panicked,
yeah,
more, and we started to press with panic to our play, and really play without composure. And it just led to us, playing very direct north south kickball. Honestly,
yeah,
it was tough. I came home from that game very distraught and disappointed and frustrated, because we've been here for weeks talking about the unbelievable progress that we've made throughout this summer, and it's almost like, almost, it can be an overreaction, but in one fell swoop, you're like, we're back to square one here.
we took a big step backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, and thankfully, and we'll talk more as we go on, that has not been the case. But in the moment, as a coach and maybe as a player too, that's certainly how it feels. And just like alarms were going off in my brain, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, and we have talked about the good group that we have, and I think they showed just why we've been talking about how good they are, because we came back 2 days later. Again, no practice on Tuesday, but Monday we squeaked out a 4-2 advancement on PKs. And on Wednesday, we played in the semifinals against Sleepy Hollow. You were at that game, a complete 180, right? Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I thought we played so well against Sleepy Hollow. I talked to the players who were there before the game and just really expressed my disappointment at how we had played 2 days prior, and told them, just let's simplify things even more. Let's go back and talk about the ground level things that we want to accomplish. We talked about defensive assignments and responsibilities and putting pressure and where the cover needs to be, and where we're trying to squeeze the field and how we're trying to shrink it. Talked about immediate pressure on the ball being important. I talked about us, we are the guys who love the flank and love to use the width of the field. And I told them this is what we have to do. We have to utilize this. We cannot play north-south balls to north-south runners. It's just, you're not going to score goals that way. And I said to them, I said, we got the film from the game, and I'm going to run it back, and I'm going to put together some clips for you guys to watch. And you're going to see that, yeah, these north-south balls to north-south runners, they make all the parents in the stands go, oh, but you know what they never do? Result in a goal. So I'm like, your mom and dad might get excited on the sideline, but we don't score.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper gets it, or it's a goal kick, or the center back collects it, or you're offsides. It's just, it's no good. And I talked to them about, if we have it out on the width, we can play a guy through on a steep angled ball behind their backs. Or if we have the ball in the middle, we can try and play a wide guy, in back behind. But I was talking to them the difference about trying to play back behind versus just playing through north south. And I thought we played great. We really played great. We were missing a bunch of players, and we came out. And I want to say, you and I use this as an indicator all the time. We probably had 15 corner kicks, which is an indicator that we are trying to get the ball around the edge, along the end line, to earn those corner kicks. And ultimately, we won 1-0. We scored on a corner kick with, I don't know, 5, 6 minutes left. Uriel Botchway got on the end of one of Martin Caceres' services and put it in the back of the net. And we had a bunch of near chances before then. And I had told the guys at halftime when it was 0-0 just how happy I was with how they played. I was like, just so you know it's 0-0, and it was 0-0 a couple days ago in Hastings. I have a completely different feeling because we're playing quality soccer. We're keeping it. We're moving the ball. We're putting good pressure on. We're squeezing the field. We're trying to get it wide. We're earning corners. We've had a bunch of near misses. We're creating chances. And I just kept telling you, I'm like, it's coming. It's a numbers game. Continue to create chances, and we'll put one in the back of the net. Because in my, view, if we play that exact game 4 or 5 times, there's scenarios where we win that game 3-0. We win that game 4-0. Because like some of those other near chances find the back of the net. And that's what's important to me. Like there was no scenario where we concede more than one, and we happened to win 1-0. But I was so much happier with just the product that we put on the field. And it made me step back from the ledge a little bit from a couple nights prior when I was so frustrated. It was like, oh, okay, we haven't lost all of this progress that we've made. It was more of blip or just a minor misstep or a stumble. And when we're still moving strong here.
Yeah, I think I like how you started that, just simplifying things. If you can just think about how many times we get corner kicks or how many times we get throw-ins in that final third of the field versus how many times we're called offsides, right? I mean, that's just a huge indicator to at least you and me how we're doing when we have possession of the ball. If we're just trying to slip these through balls through to guys, we're going to be called offsides a bunch of times. But if we're not doing that, if we're attacking the space where the space is, again, just simplifying things. When you have the ball, what do you want? You want to go to space. You don't want to drive it down the middle of the field because what's the simple thing on defense? Protect the middle of the field, right?
Yeah,
Protect that
right.
white rectangular thing,
It's where their
that,
best defenders
yeah,
are.
yeah,
And I said
yeah,
that to the guys. I'm like, we put our best defenders there, right? You think the other
right,
team puts their best
right,
defenders there too? You think there's a
right,
reason for that? Like
right,
they're not just going to let you take it down the middle and score. And if
right.
they do, that's great, but they're not going
Right,
to.
right, right, right. Yeah, certainly the good teams are going to be organized and they're going to pack the middle of that field and make it difficult for you. So yeah, you've got to be able to go around the outside. And when you go around the outside, and you and I have said this over and over to our players, if we attack the space out wide on the flanks and we fail, we usually get a throw in, right? Because if I'm trying to get by you down the flank and I can't get by it, when the defender gets it, he usually just kicks it out of bounds. And we say it all the time. Failure is our throwing in the final third of the field. Failure is our corner kick in the final third of the field. Like I really kind of like that failure, right? Versus failure of trying to play a ball down the middle of the field, like you say, the center back steps up or their goalkeeper steps up or we're offsides. But the worst is when their center back steps up and just booms the ball right back at us. So instead of us looking for a breakaway, all of a sudden, whoops, we turn around and the opposing team is out of breakaway.
Yeah.
So it's just a huge difference between, us getting that ball out wide and out in space and attacking and trying to beat players 1v1 or combine with each other to get access to that penalty area, from that flank as opposed to right down the middle of the field.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it was just so relieving. It was relieving more than anything as a coach to know, and it speaks to what we've talked about all summer, just how coachable these guys are. Because it was a 10-minute conversation prior to the game, and they
Yeah.
went out and immediately delivered on what we were trying to do,
Yeah. It's
and that's
awesome.
all we can do.
Awesome.
If we can't fix a poor touch in the middle of a game. We can't fix certain little things, but these guys will go out and try to do what we
Yeah.
want. And that's so valuable. And I think it's going to be so important to our success in the fall. It's great to see.
Yeah, and a couple of other things too, like the goal comes from a corner kick, right? How do we get a corner kick? We're on the flank and we're working on the flank. And can we just talk for a second about Martin and the balls that he plays in off of those set pieces? He is so good on those corner kicks. And I was watching the game on the game film, And by the way, we got the initial corner from, I believe it was Chris Malacone, just chasing
Yeah.
defensively, getting to a ball that was about to roll over the end line. They were fielding it for a goal
For a
kick.
goal kick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Chris got around the end of him and just knocked it off of the defender's shin to earn that corner kick. I mean, his work rate, Chris, is just unbelievable and so valuable for us. And then for Martin to get a couple of corner kicks, and when he served that ball into Uriel and Uriel headed it in, what did Uriel do immediately? He
Ran
ran
over to him.
right
Ran
to
right over to him.
Martin, yeah,
Yeah.
and to basically just say to him in front of everybody who was watching, "Thank you, Martin. What a beautiful ball!" That he just does it over and over and over again. He really plays good balls in, and we talk, you and I, a lot to our players as well about playing to your strengths, right? And he wasn't taking corner kicks for us early in the summer, and we couldn't understand it. So eventually spoke up, and we're like, Martin, you're on the field, you're taking the corner. It's just that simple, because you have to play to your strengths, right? And he just does such a good job of putting that ball in the box. And Uriel is so good with his head. So, we've got him in the box there. And like we said, Chris is so good with his fitness out wide. So when our players are playing to their strengths and doing things that they do well, we're successful. Any
Yeah.
team is going to be successful when they do that.
It's really important. And I know as coaches, it's very easy for us to get caught up on what guys struggle with and try to lift that up. And as teachers too, obviously, it's the same type of thing. But I try and keep in mind when we had a training session earlier in the summer back in June, and Ray Troshi was there with us. And after the training session, a couple of the guys were talking to him and just asking, like, what can I do to get better? What do you think I can do? And the very first question he asked them is, what do you do best? He's like, what is the best thing that you do? Are you fast? Can you run forever? Are you really good at changing the point of attack? Like, what do you do? He's like, because whatever you do well, you need to make sure you do that as much as possible. And it's just such a simple thing, right?
Right.
But to hear it coming, see the exchange happening with other people, and I was like, it's a great point,
Right.
like, and
Yeah.
it's not like it's something I don't know, but it's just a nice reinforcer. I was like, all right, let's continue to try and do this. And to your point, Martin, the thing I love most about Martin on his services is he puts pace on the ball. We've had so many guys who they can place the ball nicely, but they just hit these lofted, loopy balls, and it's just so easy for the keeper to get to. And I think it's because when you watch professional soccer, they hit such a sharp hook that I don't think it's necessarily conveyed how hard that ball is hit. And as a former goalkeeper, if that ball's lofted in, it's the best because you get to come out, you get head and shoulders above everybody to get it, and you look really good getting a really easy ball. And you're just doing the keeper a favor by playing that. But Martin hits it with pace, so it doesn't give the goalkeeper time to get off his line. He's got to make a split-second decision: am I staying or am I going? And that's really what you want to do, right? If you play the ball far enough out where the keeper knows he's staying on his line so he can get set, or you play it really inside the 6 or inside 4 yards, and he's going to definitely come out and get it. But Martin's able to find that sweet spot and get it there with pace, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's the guy's job to get their head on it at the end of the day. He hits it with pace, and what that allows it to do is it allows the guy at the end, the header, to not have to generate the power, because again,
Yeah.
professionals are able to generate power with their head, and our guys, we need that service to generate the power that's going to put the ball to the back of net. We need it just to be a redirection, and he's just nailed it. So when he's on the field, he's taking our corners.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's, or really a service. I think even if it's
Yeah.
a set piece that's going to be served, he's our guy if he's on the
Yep.
field.
Yep, no doubt about it. Yeah, he really does a good job, and like you say, he hits it with some good pace, but his accuracy is fantastic too. It's not 2 or 3 yards off the end line where the keeper doesn't have to move at all. He just jumps up and gets it, and it's not out past the penalty spot, 14, 15 yards out. Off the goal line where defenders can come out and not only clear the ball with their momentum going towards our goal, but all of a sudden it becomes a counter on us. He puts it right around that 6, 5, 6, 8-yard line, and really does a great job. I've really been impressed with every single time. It seems like
Yeah.
that he plays some really really good balls
Ta-
in.
Tack it to the list of things that he's done well this summer. He's
Yeah,
having a great summer for us, and
yeah,
hopefully it translates into the fall as well.
yeah, yep. Yep, and then Friday, so we played Monday, advanced on PKs. Wednesday we won 1-0. These are both down at Ossining, right? So we're in the finals in the Ossining league. That was scheduled for Thursday, but the rain bumped that to Monday, right? So Monday 5 o'clock at Ossining High School. We play Fox Lane. They got a good
Yep.
squad, right?
They do, yeah, they're good. We
Yeah.
played them early this summer. We won 2-0, but we scored 2 incredible goals, and they scored an unbelievable bicycle kick that was called back for, I think, a dangerous play, but they're a good team. I'm excited to play them. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think they made the section finals last year in the Double A, right? They did.
Oh, did
Yeah.
they? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
they
Yeah, I don't
did. Yeah,
remember
so
that, but
that they've
that's
got a good
fantastic.
squad.
They're
Yep,
good.
yep, yep. Coach Horhan was telling me that, the Lakeland
Okay.
coach, yeah, that they made the section finals last year. So they got a good squad, and I'm assuming they got a lot of players back from that squad, or they've got a lot of good young guys coming up. So yeah, so that'll be a good game on Monday. And then to end our week on Friday, we were at Lakeland in the quarterfinals. And you couldn't make that one. I was there. We played Yorktown, the top seed. Yorktown again has a really good team, and we lost that one 2-0. But I'll tell you what, we played so well, similar to the Sleepy Hollow game. We played so well early on in that Yorktown game. Chris Malacone on the outside, Michael Versace on the outside. They had to get us 3 or 4 corner kicks in the first couple minutes of the game. It was really impressive, really impressive. And like you, I just sort of reminded the guys before the game, just the things that we wanted to do offensively, get the ball out wide, make sure we're attacking the space, make sure we're playing to feet, make sure we're playing quickly, make sure we know what we're going to do with the ball before we receive it, take some peeks and have some awareness, get your body in a position where you can receive it, right? Make yourself available to string these passes together. And then defensively, make sure we put pressure on the ball. Make sure we make it difficult for them and not try to allow them to change it. And I thought we came out and just played awesome the first 10 or 15 minutes. This is like getting maybe a little too much into the weeds here. But we had some good action the first 10 or 15 minutes down the flank. So about 10, 15 minutes into it, the ball came wide to Chris. And like an idiot as a coach, I opened up my mouth. I should have just shut up, but this was totally my fault. But Chris had gotten the ball, and you could just see when the ball was played wide to Chris that the Yorktown players were just like flying over to that flank because they didn't want Chris to burn him again down the flank. And Lucas Reverso was playing CDM for us, and he was wide open in the middle of the field. And I should have just let Chris, analyze it for himself. But again, I opened up my big fat mouth and I said, find Lucas in the middle, Lucas Reverso, Lucas Reverso. And by the time I said it, and by the time Chris heard it, and by the time Chris looked up and looked over to see maybe where Lucas Reverso was, and then adjusted his body position and took a prep touch on the ball to play it to Lucas, too much time has gone by, right? So you know
Too late.
exactly what's going to happen here, Coach. I don't even have to tell you. So Chris does eventually try to play that ball to Lucas Reverso, and it's a square ball right from an outside mid to a central mid, and it got picked off. And with one pass, they sent it to their number 10 forward, who was in 1v1 with one of our defenders, and put it past our goalkeeper. So they went down 1-0, and you could see just the air go out of the balloon on our end, because we had played really well for the first 10 or 15 minutes. And oh, by the way, now we're down 1-0. So it was disappointing, and I fully blame myself. And I told the players that, I said, I should have just shut up by the time I say this stuff. I should have just allowed you guys to recognize it. But in the teachable moment sort of a situation, I had said to the guys at halftime, this is why I said it. So I hope you guys recognize, like, we had some really good action down the flank. And as a result of that, Yorktown was now just trying to take away the flank. That opens up other areas of the field. So we're always telling the players, play wide, but we're telling them to play wide because that's where the space is. But then when the opposing team gets a player that pressures Chris, and then a couple of players that, are going to get towards that touchline, not allow Chris to bring that ball wide, all of a sudden now there's space on another area of the field, right? So I should have just allowed our players to recognize that. I didn't. I opened up my mouth, and and they countered on us, and they scored in a breakaway. And then we lost our composure a little bit for the rest of that first half. They scored another goal, a really nice goal. Kids served a ball in from the flank, a really long serve, and that same number 10 got his head on it, and just snuck it under the crossbar. So we were down 2-0 at halftime, and the guys came off the field really down and disappointed. But like you were saying to the team, I said, I don't care what the score is. We're playing good soccer. I said, once that goal got scored, we sort of lost our way a little bit. Let's not let that affect us. Let's just think about the good soccer that we've been playing, and let's keep playing good soccer, because you guys played so well before that first goal. just go back to what you were doing and just string passes together and find open guys and make yourself available and talk to each other and take peeks, know what you're going to do with that ball before you get it, and try to find the space. And then when we lose it, let's just put them under pressure. Let's make it difficult for them. And we did that in the second half. We really did. We had some good opportunities in the second half too. But like you say, at the varsity level, these teams are so well organized defensively, and Yorktown has some really big, strong, fast kids, some good defensive players. And we just couldn't score. But even though we had lost that game 1-0 or 2-0, excuse me, Yorktown's got a really good team, and I really thought we played well, Coach. I really did.
That's awesome. That's regardless of the results, the quality of play is what we're looking for. It's what we're looking for all summer. It's what we're looking for in the fall. Also, that's what's more important to me because those are the things that are in our control. Us as coaches, and then our players as players. It's not a game like basketball that has so much scoring where the things can be negligible. There's so little scoring in soccer that one or two little things can have a big impact on the final result. But all you can do is try and play the best you can to limit chances defensively and create chances offensively, and then kind of let the chips fall where they are. So it sounds like that's what we did that night. I know. I talked to you on the phone when you were coming home from the game, and this is the way you were talking. That you were very, very happy and
Yeah.
positive with how we played. So it's great that after that kind of debacle on Monday, we were able to come back and twice play good quality soccer, and whether we got the result or we didn't, that's what's important, and I think with a whole bunch of different players too. I know I had a bunch of players on Wednesday that you didn't have on Friday and vice versa. So it's ruminating in across lots of different players, and it's not four or five guys who are getting it. It's 15 or 20 guys who are really, really kind of doing it.
It's a great point, and I had said to the players before the game, I said, "Look around. We don't have the best of rosters today," and I didn't mean that from a talent standpoint, just from we didn't have a lot of returning varsity players. And I said that to the guys. I said, a lot of you guys have just played JV, you've never really played at the varsity level before, and I said, this is a playoff game. This is Yorktown. They're really good. I said to the guys, but don't be nervous. I said, this is a great opportunity for you guys as JV players to show us what you can do. And we believe in you guys, or else you wouldn't be here with us. We only had 2 subs, but some of those younger players really did great. I mean, Martin is a perfect example. This is a kid that's never played a varsity soccer game a day in his life, and he's been fantastic on these corner kicks. Luca Tricarico, an incoming ninth grader, right? I mean, he was just so good against this Yorktown team. I put him not only I played him in different spots in the Yorktown game. I played him in the midfield and I played him in the back, and he did so well. Julian Lurs, I'm sure I'm missing other players too, but we just had players that just really did a nice job for us that have never played varsity soccer before, and I was so happy to see that they weren't nervous and timid and back on their heels. They were just confident and just playing soccer the way that they know that they can play, and that they did a really good job. And like you say, all of our players have been so good this year, just listening to us and taking our coaching and trying to implement it as best that they can. And even our mix and match of rosters that we've had, that the kids have really done a nice job.
Yeah, they've done great, and we have such a diverse mix there. A lot of games will have several varsity returners. We have guys like Luca Chicarico, who played on our JV team as an eighth grader last year, but as a rising ninth grader. We had some players who played on the middle school team last year, or other rising ninth graders. We have guys playing their third varsity season, so it's a really, really big diverse mix. And for those players who have played for us for 2 or 3 years, they know what we want because we're pretty consistent year to year. We may change things formationally or whatever, but we our kind of priorities are always the same. And it's different because it's different from maybe their club coach or the JV coach or their middle school coach. It's a bit different, but uh, if Luca Tricarico is playing CDM as a rising ninth grader, the guy he's paired up with may be coming in as a senior,
Yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah,
is fantastic for him to be able to get that kind of experience playing against. And I'm certain that whoever it is on Yorktown's a really good player.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
it's really good experience. Just another layer of good things that participation in these summer leagues provides us.
yeah, yeah. And it's been a lot of fun. And we wrap up that summer league on Monday. At the at the Ossining soccer field against Fox Lane, 5 p.m. kickoff. And so we'll see if we could win that league 2 years in a row. Somebody was telling me at Lakeland that we were in the finals now the last 3 years of the Ossining League. Is that true?
I think so. Maybe we
Yeah.
lost in the finals
Okay.
two summers ago. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
remember, but that, I mean, sure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
Listen, it's nice to have success. You know, the all the years that we've been playing at Lakeland and now at Ossining, we've only won each league once, right? We won the Lakeland League once, and we won the Ossining League once. So we'll see if we could win the Ossining League a second time here. But like you say, Fox Lane's got a good team, and it'll be tough for us on Monday, but looking forward to it. That's what you want at this point in the season. You don't want any cupcakes. You want some good teams that are going to make it difficult for you and punish you if you make some mistakes. That's what the regular season is going to be about in the fall. So it'll be a good opportunity for us to play against Fox Lane, and hoping to scrimmage Yorktown. I had talked to the Yorktown coach about scrimmaging them prior to the regular season beginning, and we'll have the same conversation with Fox Lane. Love to scrimmage both of those teams before we open up September 6th at Carmel.
Carmel. Yeah, those would be two really good preseason games to get under our belts. I think that would be really beneficial. So hopefully it works out with the both of them.
Yeah, and it'll be a good opener for us at Carmel too, because Carmel has a good team as well. They lost to Irvington in the quarterfinals at the Lakeland League just before us in PKs. It was a really good game, went back and forth, and Irvington, who's got a pretty good team, was able to knock off Carmel, but that was a good game. I enjoyed watching that as our guys were sort of warming up on the side. But Carmel lost in PK, so we got some good teams ahead of us here. And like I had said at the beginning, I'm really looking forward to now just the practices Monday through Thursday night at 8 o'clock at Jay. Always nice to get under the lights. Unbelievable sunsets at John Jay, right?
The best. We've said it for
Every year.
years.
Yeah.
They're
It's just,
purple, pink,
yeah.
orange. If you
Yeah.
look out over Route 52 from the John Jay Turf Field, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is. Yeah.
So
So,
I'm looking forward to those the
yep.
next 3 weeks.
Yep.
In spite of getting eaten up alive by the bugs as the
That's
sun
true.
sets,
Yeah.
it's worth it because it's just gorgeous.
Yep. And you and I will get our hands dirty doing some coaching, and running some drills, and yeah, putting these guys through the activities that are going to help us, get these guys to make good decisions, both offensively and defensively. So it should be
Yeah,
fun. Looking
be,
forward to it.
because throughout the summer we have a lot of suggestions and things that we urge kids to do, but we're getting towards that time of the season where those things become demands. Like we'll encourage, we'll urge. 3 weeks from now, you got to do it, right? Or we're going to find someone who can, right? Our goal 3 weeks from tomorrow is find the 15 guys who can do this the best, and see what we can do with them. So it feels like it's off in the distance, but it'll be here before we know it, right? Like we're already in the registration process. I'm checking registrations every day to see who's in there and stuff like that. So it'll be here. It'll be September 6th before we know it. We'll be at the opening whistle at Carmel, being like, "What happened? I thought we just started the summer league as the
Right.
regents were rolling around."
Right, right. Yeah, it's I think the worst part of coaching, right? Going through the tryouts and making the selections, and then even after you make the selections, like you say, you got 20, 22 guys in the team, whatever, and then you sort of have to make selections from there, well, now who's starting and who's likely to come off the bench, and just a word to those guys out there. Sometimes you never know, right? Sometimes we pick guys and we say, hey, you know what? You're sort of at the end of the bench. We don't really see you playing. But guys just continue to work hard. Russell Miller, jumps to mind. That
Yeah,
it's the guy
that's
that
who I thought of too.
didn't play for us at the beginning of the season, and he was starting for us at the end of the season and into
Mhm.
sectional. So,
And two seasons ago, Sean Vibrock was very much the same, right? Like Sean, we had given the option to come up with the varsity team, similar to what we did with Lucas Reverso last year, and he opted to come up, and he didn't say boo. He sat on that bench and worked hard at practice every single day, and we had him playing outside back. I don't know if he was starting, but he was getting a bulk of the minutes 2 seasons ago, and it just, it wasn't till October, maybe even a week or two into October, where that happened. So just because you're somewhere on August 28th or August 30th does not mean that's where you're going to be in October. And like you said, Russell Miller was, like our 20th guy. was starting at the end of the season because
Yeah.
he had just some intangible things and abilities to be in the mix and make things happen that we changed our focus and were able to find some good value in. And he played great for us in that final little run in sectionals and stuff like that. But again, if you hang your head and mope or complain or half-ass it, like none of that happens, right? All that does is reinforce the decision that was already made. It's kind of on you to come out and prove that hey, you guys, you missed something. Not even necessarily you missed something. I got more in me than you think, and that's it. And it's not a matter of saying that that guy doesn't have as much as you think. That seems to be the mentality a lot of times players take. It's what I want you to see more in me.
It's a great point because a lot of times when we do talk to players, about or sometimes parents as well, well, you've got Johnny out there and he can't do A, B, and C, and it's like it's not about Johnny, this is
Right.
about you, let's look in the
Right.
mirror and let's talk about, what you're doing or not doing, and what we need to see from you. And you're right, there are just some kids that unfortunately, take that, um, take that. I don't know what it's called, just a negative knockdown at the you get knocked off the horse, you gotta get back on, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and when you get selected for a team, but you're told you're probably not gonna play, that hurts. We've all been there. I mean, no matter how good you are, you eventually come up on a team where you know what, there's 11 other players that are better than you. And it's what you do with that, and how you react to that that really determines your future. And yeah, we've had some guys that hang their head and pout and try to get guys around them to revolt against the coaching staff and the decisions that are being made, and that just sinks a team. And then we've also had other guys that are like, okay, like you said, I'll show you you're wrong, but I'll give me a few weeks and I'll show you that you're wrong. And they just continue to work and continue to do everything we ask. And yeah,
Look at
sometimes,
Lorenzo Buetti last year, right? Like
yeah,
he made our team for the first time as a senior
yeah,
and ended up being, I don't know, our 12th or 13th player. He played all the time, subbed in at
awesome,
center
yeah,
mid, played great.
yeah,
And had he taken any of those setbacks prior to that, and so I'll screw these guys, or they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Maybe that doesn't happen. And like Chris Malacone finds himself in a very similar situation right now, right, where he's
yeah,
had how many different setbacks, and he's here. Has been exchanging emails with me every winter about how he can get better, and it's come to fruition now. He's playing great soccer.
yeah, yeah,
He's a good soccer player now. And, to nobody's credit but his own.
yeah,
That
yep.
is unbelievable resilience and desire and attitude to not quit and just it can't happen for everyone, but when it does happen, it's so fantastic. And as a coach, you love to see it with these guys. So Lorenzo last year, and then just seeing Chris Malacone now, it's it's really great. It's really
Yeah,
great because that's kind of a bonus quality that you get where not necessarily banking on a player like that being able to help you, but I am 100% certain that Chris Malacone is going to help us in the fall.
yeah,
He's shown himself to be too good and valuable
yeah,
not to.
yep, yep, and those things don't happen in an instant, right? I mean, Lorenzo Boetti, Chris Malacone, I mean, just years and years of just working and taking, our feedback and taking it to heart, and really, like you say, proving to us, you guys missed something. I mean, this is who I am, and this is what I could do, and this is the value that I have for your program, and we want to win, right? So, if you could show it to us, we're more than willing to, take those decisions and say, hey, you know what? We know we told you you're number 20th, but now, you're on the field starting for us. So,
Right. And
yeah,
what it shows is we don't get cemented into our decisions,
yeah,
right? Like
yep,
every decision we make is what we feel is for the best for the team, what we feel is the best to try and win games and everything like that. And if things aren't working, we will try other things. But a lot of times guys will there's been times where 8-0 and we've got 35 goals scored and 3 goals allowed. And the guy's like, I really think I should be out there starting. It's like, well, I don't know, man. What we're doing is working pretty well right now. Like,
right,
I think we're doing okay. Versus when you're out there, you're getting killed and you want to look in a different direction. But sometimes not changing things is the move when things are going well and going smoothly, and it's like maybe you've have the right mix right now, but you're never a tweaked hamstring or a rolled ankle away from all sorts of things changing where this guy's got to move to a new spot and now we need a new player in that spot. So it's The amount of time we spend trying to figure it out is immense. But I know that when you're 16 years old and you're not playing, that's not necessarily as much of a consolation as you'd like. But I can promise everyone, every decision we make is with the best interest of the team and the quality of the product that we can put on the field in mind.
Yeah, and I think that's what helps the players that haven't made the team in years past or haven't played in years past. They're more about the we than the me, and they're just happy for the team, and they're just going to continue to work hard, and they're not going to pout, and they're not going to be selfish and saying, "Well, I'm not getting playing time, so I'm not going to work hard in practice." It's just okay, you need me right now to be a practice player. I'm going to be the best damn practice player you've ever seen, coach.
Yeah,
And I'm going to
yeah.
force you, to give me time on the field, and just players doing that day in and day out, week in and week out, results in, a lot of times us having a very different lineup when we start sectionals versus when we started the regular season.
Right. And
Doesn't happen always, but
just for every Lorenzo and Chris that we have who show up and work incredibly hard and show us to kind of force us to take another look, there's guys at the other end of that spectrum too, right? Who maybe even, or you start really close, and then through your lackadaisical play and you're late, you're disinterested, you're off task, or talking when we're trying to address the team, like all you do is slide further down, and it's like this cascading problem because like I know that mentality is that, like, well, they don't know what they're talking about, and then you just again reinforce that.
yep.
So we've had issues with that in the past, and thankfully, knock on wood, I don't see that in anyone that we have in our summer program. I'm hoping that it's something we can avoid. I really think we have the potential to have such a cohesive, unit of guys this year. Looking at a group of 40, whatever, 20 or whatever we end up with I think no matter what, they can do that.
And it always makes it so much fun, right? For us as coaches, and I think for the guys too, if everybody's just pushing in the same direction and if everybody's just on board with what we're doing and what we're asking for, as opposed to a lot of the times where we've had tough seasons, guys just, well, my club coach does it this way, my dad says I should do it that way. Well, you're not playing for your dad, or you're not playing for your club coach, you're
Yeah.
playing for us right now. And I think you and I always say to players, we would never go to your travel soccer games and say, well, your club coach is doing it wrong. He should do it. We never, ever, ever say that, so then we ask the players, please don't say that here. I mean, we've been doing this a long time. I always tell the kids I've been coaching at the high school level longer than you've been on earth. Forget
Yeah.
about coaching. I've been coaching longer than I've been coaching at the high school level, but I've been coaching at John Jay for the past 27 years, that's a lot longer than you've even been on this earth. So I've been through it. I know the opponents that we're going to play. I know what it takes for us to be successful. Doesn't mean I'm the perfect coach, doesn't mean I'm right all the time, but to your point, we will admit when we're wrong. And if we
But
realize, what, this player might be able to help us out, let's do it. Let's make a
they
change.
play FIFA though, coach. They play FIFA. They know it. They know it. It's one button switch. And just to kind of readdress what you were talking about, like a lot of times when guys say that, what they're talking about, that I've heard guys like, well, I'm not asked to do this in my club team. And the thing they're talking about is like playing to someone's feet, like not passing the ball 3 feet wide of the player, right? Or playing quickly. It's not like it's some tactical strategy, right? It's
Right,
staying goal side and not diving in, right?
right,
Like
right,
your club coach doesn't make you do that. Like that's
right,
ground level soccer stuff. A
right,
lot of it's foundational things. This isn't a matter of difference of opinion and tactics. Like it's passing
right,
and
right,
receiving.
right.
And so yeah, listen, we were there once too.
Yep, yep.
We've all had disappointments in coaching and or when we were players, and it's really tough for kids and teenagers to look in the mirror and say, well, maybe it's something I got to do different.
Yeah, and we've been travel coaches as well, right? So we've been on both sides of it, so we understand all of the dynamics. But at this point, Coach, looking forward to the finals Monday at Ossining, and looking forward to the week of practice. So even though we'll have that final game at Osning at 5 o'clock on Monday. We'll come back and we'll practice right at eight
Yeah,
o'clock
well,
at
we'll
Town
train
J.
at eight
Yeah,
o'clock. Yeah,
yeah,
why not? I think we have an opportunity to get out there and get some technical work done and stuff like that. Let's use the time. We have so little practice time and so little time afforded to time on the turf, especially with a whole field, that let's use it while we have it. I think it's like 79 to 83 all week. So listen, if I can get out there and like you have a quarter zip on right now, that's the dream to be out there in long sleeves and even long pants. Like, man, I'm built for the fall.
yep, yep. Me too. Looking forward to it, Coach.
Yeah, so this time next week we'll be talking not only about the final, which will be awesome, but 4 solid practice days and how they went. And it'll be a change of gears from what we've talked about for the last month or 6 weeks, and I'm really looking forward to it. So we will be back then, and hopefully everybody has a good week, and try and get a guest on next week. Maybe we'll talk and see if we can get somebody on to come and share some stories with us about some things. Have a real big blowout episode for number 11. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will see everyone next week, and everybody have a wonderful week. Coach, I will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Coach. Take
All
care,
right.
everybody.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.